I'm gonna give you a perfect thing, and I swear if you follow this, you won't go wrong.
Okay.
Help him when he asks you to. That's it. When he comes and asks, be open to help him. As long as his mouth shut and he doing his thing, then let him do his thing. You hassling him over why he's not opening up to you, why he's trying to do his thing, ain't gonna make him open up more. But when he comes to you, be available. It's that
Well, none of
simple.
that works though, because
My
she said
dad
that
died doing that. My dad
she,
ended up having a heart attack, and we didn't know he had health problems because of that mindset. I'm not trying to lose another man in my life because of that mindset. So there has to be some compromise or that we can get around that as women, that we care about y'all men. How can we not be nagging but still figure
Just
out how to
yeah,
help y'all? Because
it don't
waiting for y'all
start
to
it
tell
don't
us,
start with the it don't start with the
Yes, the
kid like
same
you
thing.
think it does. You think it start with the kid because you said your father told your I guess your brother that hey, the world is not going. He's not. He's speaking from what he endured in the world. He's preparing his son for where he got to go out into the world. So even if he tell him to open up emotionally, the world is still gonna shut that down the moment he exit the door. That's where your father's speaking from. So the issue is not at home like you think it is. It's actually out in society. Take it for example. I think all the brothers on here seen this older guy sitting in front of his wife and his daughter's on the sign. I think it was at Yalling Van Zandt. His wife was apologizing for falsely accusing him from essaying his daughters, and he didn't want to accept her apology. Do you know how much emotional toil and internalized destruction he had to go through all whatever years or whatever he had to endure, and nobody even believed him? But you got so many men out here that's going through that today, being falsely accused, and by default, we're guilty just because we're a man, because we have the power to do it. So you got to see how unsafe it is for us to, even if this man, I don't even know how to count how many times he probably said, hey, look, I didn't do this. I love my family. I love my daughter. I even love my wife. Nobody is here to call him. So when your father's teaching your son that, he's teaching him that if he ever go into that situation, you know what I'm saying? Nobody's going to be there. You can be as emotionally open as you want. Unless women come out and cancel or pick up their signs and march against all of that foolery, only maybe we'll start feeling safe. Because a man walking out of his household, unless he in a relationship with this woman, unless this woman is his, women are pretty much the enemy. When they look at you, they don't even smile. You gotta watch what you say around them. Like, you can't even fall down and ask a woman, hey, can you help me? Nigga, I don't know you. Can you pay my bill? Like, you gotta understand the situation, man. We can't be emotional because it's just gonna be shoved right back in our faces. So you gotta, and I get it that the title or the question might be emotional with the one you're with, but I'm looking at it as emotional around women. Like y'all are asking, like your cousins, your sisters, female coworkers. Nah, man, they gonna call you thirsty or a simp or a sucker. You know what I'm saying? But as long as you hard and you giving them that bad boy persona, you good to go. The moment you start opening up, nah, they ain't even trying to hear that.
I don't think that's true. That's just so crazy to me. That perspective. First of all, I respect your perspective, right? Because that's coming from a man, and maybe you've dealt with that. Maybe you've ran into those type of women, and if you have, then I sincerely apologize on their behalf. Because the fact that you saying that you can't go around and even women don't even smile at you is crazy to me. Like, no matter where I go, I smile at people. I'm nice to people. If someone fail, whether it's a man or a woman, I'm going to help. I just don't understand that mindset. I don't know women like that. Like, I'm not around women like that. That's not how I grew up. I just don't see that. I feel that's what social media pushes. And we see it so much that we believe it's reality when it's not. I think there are way more women out here that genuinely care for our man rather than the amount of women that are actually going after them or only using them to gain something from the situation. And I actually agree with Jasmine. I need to figure out how we can fix this issue and this lack of communication between the two of us, because like her, I lost my father the same way. He had a stroke and dealt with it all day before he went to the hospital and ended up passing because he didn't want to talk about it or didn't want to come off as weak. Like, it doesn't make sense when you are surrounded by people who desperately care for you. And his wife was a nurse. He decided not to say something. Like, it just doesn't make sense. I feel like it's a personal thing. It's an ego battle with y'all to be strong all the time, but you don't have to.
I was going to agree with you because I personally, like, I don't know, it's almost ingrained in me that whining, uh, not being in control of the situation is a form of weakness, and I try to keep all weakness as far away from me as possible. Like, so I would be one of those people who like might have had a stroke. Now I would tell my wife if I, when it's happening, but I wouldn't want to go to the hospital. I just want to figure how can I tough this out? How can I, you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
You
I
can't.
definitely,
You need a
yeah.
doctor.
So
Like,
I just
that's
want to
why
jump in
women
real
are
quick.
here.
So Todd, check this out. You see how Darwin was able to kind of articulate himself and give you his POV, and then immediately following, you inadvertently invalidated it, right? Even though you didn't mean to. That's kind of what he's explaining, how it plays out. Whereas a man will give you his POV and let you know, like, okay, this is what's going on in my situation. But then it was minimized. And I'm not saying you were doing anything nefarious or not, but I'm just saying that's the perspective that we kind of mean. And that doesn't happen to me in my personal life, right? Women smile at me and stuff. Okay, I get it. But at the same time, we can't invalidate what he's talking about. And it almost seemed like you thought it was extremely strange, right? And that's no knock against you at all, but it's just to kind of lay out exactly what he means and what happens. I don't know if y'all ever saw it. I did a video on it too with the wire spool, where the dude, he had a wire spool and he was trying to explain it to like his wife or whatever. And he bought it when he was young as hell. And he was like about his retirement age and it was almost gone. And there was some symbolism to it and that she just dismissed it. And that's kind of how men feel, right? And it's not always that people lash out or whatever, but sometimes it's just dismissed or misunderstood. And that's kind of why men will just be like, you know what the hell did I even open my mouth for?
And what was jacked up about that wire spool thing was that after all the backlash, he wound up being the one to kind of like shield his wife and apologize to his wife, even though his feelings were the ones that were technically hurt in that moment. After like a week, he was the one that wound up having to shield his wife from all the backlash, and then also he had to apologize for her. Well, apologize to her for what happened to her, even though she was the one that posted the video.
I just want to say something. So to the gentleman that just spoke, the young lady actually didn't invalidate him. Before she even gave her opinion on anything, she said that she apologized for women who done him wrong. And then she also let him know that his feelings were valid. I brought that up to say, like, a lot of times I don't think y'all brothers know what you want in response from us. And when you don't hear exactly what you want, instead of telling us that, you'll tell us what we're doing wrong. And it becomes like this circular blame game. But she definitely didn't invalidate him, and she acknowledged. Just saying.
Thank you, lovely. I thought I did. I was like,